All right, welcome to the Tulsa Open Source Hardware August meetup. So, anyway, I'm Jonathan Bartlett, and I'm the leader of this ragtag band of merry gentlemen. So, today we're going to do talk about breadboards and the ins and outs of how to find a good one. And George is going to do that, but before that, we're going to start out with announcements. So first, I want to talk about the Tulsa Maker Faire. That's going on August 25th. Blixa, what all do we have going on for that?
I'm not. Wow. Leaving headphones on. I can't talk when I have headphones on.
Don't speak when you're listening to yourself.
Speech jammer. Actually, I think someone's going to have a speech jammer there this year, so that's going to be fun. It's taking place down at the.
Is that the expo?
Yes, the Expo Square now. Yeah, so it's taking place at the Expo Square.
Is it the main building?
No, I think it's the Science and Arts Building.
Okay.
I forget exactly what it's called. It's the same place as last year.
Central Park Hall. It says up there.
Oh, is that what?
Yes.
Yeah.
Central
Okay,
Park
there you
Hall
go.
at Expo Square.
So Central Park Hall. It's next Saturday, August 25th. If you are interested, it is free to attend. You just need to go to the website and make sure you register. They just want to make sure they know how many people are attending. This year is the first year where it is a full-on, straight-up Maker Faire. It is not a mini Maker Faire like the last 2 years. Now I'm actually going to be with a group where there's a new makerspace starting up here in Tulsa, and we're actually going to have a booth down there. The BK Makerspace. It's hosted by Brittany and Philip, and they are looking for new members, and we're going to be looking for new members for a while. If you're interested, it's going to be really exciting. You can come down to Maker Faire and check out what one of the booths is going to look like. If everything gets lined up and in place, we're even going to be doing tours after Maker Faire of the new space. So if you want to come down and check it out, make sure you come to Maker Faire and meet with Philip. He's going to be there. We're going to have a sample space that you'll be able to check out. It's actually really cool because we've been talking about doing 10 by 10 spaces, and Maker Faire gives you a 10 by 10 space. So you'll get to see what it's going to be like at the new maker space.
We're actually really excited about this new makerspace. It's going to be several of the people from Tosh are actually going to be part of this. We're actually going to work and see if maybe possibly we'll be able to move our meetings over there. But that's I haven't officially asked yet, so that's not official.
Of course, I have more or less officially asked by going up to Philip and being like, "Hey, can we do this?" And he said, "Probably."
So we have a definite probably.
A definite maybe. There
Yes.
you go. So definitely come out, and Tosh isn't doing a booth down there this year, are we?
Unfortunately, fortunately, my dad's getting married on August 25th, so I can't be out there. Last year I went out and it was a lot of fun. I actually had 2 booths out there last year. I ran my microscope lab, and we did an electronics lab, which also did some Tosh advertising. So it's a lot of fun. There's a ton of people. If you have kids, bring your kids. The kids love it. The adults love it. There's things for everybody there.
Yep, and I'm sure a lot of Tosh people are already going to be out there anyways, considering the heavy overlap between the two interest levels. So you should be there as well. And I think at this point we're going to end up handing it over to our speaker for the night.
All right, George, take it away.
All right.
Okay, so regular viewers will recall that John and I made up a remote door opener last year for the building here, triggered by walkie-talkies.
Can you put that in the video?
This?
Yeah.
So this is the way it finally ended up. So this ended up working part of the time, and not working part of the time with no real explanation for why it didn't work when it didn't. It would work for a while and then 5 minutes later not work at all. So last meeting I took it home with me and did some work with my scope and my multimeter to try to figure out what was going on. I had donated the breadboard, which is what we originally mounted it on, to the project because it was very difficult to insert leads into it, and I wanted to get rid of it. So I thought, well, here's a, actual useful purpose for it, and then I won't have to mess with it anymore. What I found was that the breadboard not only was tough to insert things into, but the contacts in it were not reliable. I measured this has a split power rail setup, and you'd have a little 5 millimeter wire going to connect the two halves, and I measured a 0.3 of a volt drop across there, and that shouldn't be. So, and then I found other entire sections of the circuit that just weren't connected, weren't working, even though the leads were inserted. So I got
real quick for everyone. Let's put up a picture of the schematics. So this is schematics. So why don't you just give a
okay. This is I don't remember this.
oh,
That's not mine. But anyway, all it is a it depended on an audio signal from the walkie-talkie.
yeah. So we put it back here.
Hmm?
We took that off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, do you want me to continue or?
Yeah. Continue. Yeah. Continue.
So anyway, I decided to see whether my breadboard was the only one that was bad, and went searching, and I found a video by Julian on YouTube called Fake Breadboards, and he had received a batch of them that looked just exactly like mine. They're called the MB102s, and they're like $2 delivered. But the problem is he had exactly the same problems I did. And so it turns out, as far as I can tell, that most of the ones you buy on eBay at that price are bad. And by bad, I mean you don't have reliable contacts. And you just can't really live with that because you don't know at any point what's going to work and what isn't. So basically, you'd have intermittent contacts, you'd have high resistance contacts, which shouldn't be. So here's the way he identified these bad ones. First of all, they have a split power rail. There are letters along the end going from A to J, but if you look at the other end, they're from J to A for the same row, so they're lettered backwards, and the numbers are also backwards. At least that's the way he saw it. I don't know whether you can really tell from the pictures on eBay what you're getting. Oh, the other thing is the numbers on the rows start off, for example, at 0. It's not exactly lined up with one of the rows, so you can't really tell which one it's supposed to be. The pictures, you may get what's in the picture and you may not. So I think that's not really reliable. If you found one that looked right, you can't really be sure, you're going to get the same thing.
The ones on the website definitely show that the letters are backwards on one side.
Yes.
So.
I think if it looks bad, you definitely are going to get bad, but if it looks good, you may still get bad.
So are the ones that don't have the break in the middle better?
Okay, John's saying are the ones that don't have the brake, the power rail brake, better. I don't think they're necessarily better. It turns out that the ones I found that work don't have that split. That's all I can say at this point. So then I went looking. Eyelet did not. What is this?
That's a correct one.
I think it should be fine.
Whether or not it's good or not.
Look at the leather. Look at the letters and the numbers.
Well,
A corresponds to A.
this is kind of a mixture because the letters and the letters are in the same direction in both ends. The numbers look pretty good, but they're not exactly lined up right. But this one looks better, you know. Okay, so if you get good contacts, then it's a good one, you know, regardless of what it looks like.
You can also see that the contacts on the power rail actually line up with the contacts down here.
Yes.
Whereas like here,
Here
the
they don't.
contacts
That's right.
Quite.
That's right.
And you'll notice like on these power rails here, oftentimes they'll use a second set of contacts inside for support, but they won't line up correctly anymore because of course those don't line up.
Right.
And that's a common problem I've run into with
So what lines up? Oh,
the
it lines
power
up with
rail.
the-
Yeah.
Okay.
These should be straight lines for each one. I mean, there's one skip there, but otherwise they should be lined up, and here they aren't. Like this one's right in the middle of these two rows. You know, so then I went looking. Eyelet didn't say anything other than the ones he got were bad, so I went looking for good ones, and I found another YouTube video by a guy named Interlink Knight, and the title of it is Best Quality Breadboards. If you search for that on YouTube, you'll find it. And he had ordered like 10 different breadboards and had carefully analyzed all of them and tested all of them. And he found that all but 2 of them were bad. And that includes breadboards from Adafruit and from other names you would recognize. Apparently, Adafruit was just selling more of the BT 102s as theirs. So that doesn't get you anywhere. He found 2 that worked well. One was from Jameco, if that's how you pronounce that, for like $13 or $14. And it had everything right. But the other one he found was by Busboard Prototypes, and it was the BB830 that costs about half as much. And he found that worked just as good as the more expensive ones, with one exception. On these breadboards, you can, if they're made, you know, by the same company, you can attach them to each other. There's little tabs on the side. The Jamecos had them at both, not only on the long side but on the short side as well, so you could attach them either way. But these other ones, the Busboard products, it's only on the long side. Now, I've never actually attached 2 breadboards, so it doesn't matter to me. But might be something that would matter to somebody. So I found these at Arrow Electronics, and by the way, Arrow Electronics is currently shipping overnight for free.
That's in Tulsa, though, right?
No,
No.
they're out west somewhere. And this is the BB830. And this has letters that all work, numbers that all line up, no break in the power rails, and Arrow sells them for $5.91. I think that's probably a mistake because Amazon sells them for $7.90 and Mauser sells them for even more than that. But $5.31 with free overnight shipping might make sense to order a few. I have tried these. These came in Monday, so of course I don't have any extensive testing. But they insert very easily without the lead buckling. And as far as I can tell with my multimeter, you can wiggle things around and you still get good contacts. So this, I think, is probably a pretty good choice. I mean, they're a lot less expensive than the other ones, and you also get a metal back plate. And frankly, I'm not sure what you're supposed to do with that. Obviously, put it on the back, but I don't know why you would need it. Anyway,
So, George, one thing with the cheap ones is that I also have a problem that you can push it through too far and it contacts like another row. Does that have stoppers or anything like to prevent over pushing?
He's asking if each of the pins are physically isolated, or if.
Well, now each row is a continuous metal thing with
Right,
with the little
is
funnels
there,
up it.
Right.
You know.
Is there plastic isolation in between each of the rows there?
Oh yes.
Okay, so it would keep you from like trying to wedge one in and make.
I don't think you could do that.
Okay, because you can do them with the cheap ones.
Can you? Okay. I haven't actually tried to do that, so I can't say for sure. But you would not on this one. You would not be in a position of needing to press hard or work hard to get the thing in.
How strong is the backing? Can you end up pushing all the way through and pushing out a row of contacts, or is it pretty well in there?
I think
That's
it's
the other
I think
problem
it's
run
I
into.
think it's pretty well in there.
So if you stick that in there and lift it up, it's not going to push through the back.
No, it doesn't seem to.
I like that yours is flat. This is banana shaped.
Yeah. So that would be, first of all, my recommendation would be not to buy them from eBay. Everybody likes to buy cheap stuff that works, but this is cheap stuff that really doesn't work. And, for $5.91, that's not too much to pay for a full-size breadboard. Last time I saw, Arrow had 40 of them left in stock, but they'll get more. They're a regular distributor. Now, the other thing I found from Mr. Eilert was his Postbag number 121 episode, which showed, and the reason I took the thing home with me last time, showed these. And these are printed circuit boards laid out generally, I say generally, in the same pattern as the breadboards. The problem is, however, that they're not exactly the same. They're not wide enough. They're not as long, first of all, and they're not wide enough so the power supply modules won't fit, which is a major bummer. Now,
So they're almost 2 rows too narrow.
well, the what's missing is the space between the regular rows and the power rails. This is much longer here. See this? How much greater distance that is? So it's all it's the same number of holes and the same layout generally. And it's pretty close, but you have a problem here. Now, as you can tell, I made this one work. And the way I did that was to cut off all of the outside pins. The inside pins of this module will fit the outside rails here close enough that it will actually work. In fact, generally, if you lay out your breadboard using only the inner power rails, you can then take those jumpers that fit that, and it'll fit exactly or close enough to the outer power rails on the solder version. Now, the big advantage of this is if you have a project that you've breadboarded, which means it's something that's through-hole parts, or it's something that uses adapters like this one. This one has SOIC on one side and TSSOP on the other, and you can solder surface mount parts on that, and then you end up with something that'll fit here, like I did on this one. If you have a project like that, you can transfer it to a soldered PC board without having to have a board made. You don't have to go to OSH Park or anybody else, and these are like 60 cents. They come in, 10 for $6, and one recommendation I would have, actually two. The first one is, if you have some very fine steel wool, it would probably be a good idea to clean this off before you start soldering to it. And maybe even a little Windex to just, make sure it's really clean. The other thing is, remember that you've got now, instead of a breadboard, you've got something with contacts on the bottom side. So you may need to make a back plate for it made out of some non-conductive stuff. This is just cardboard. The easiest way to find these is to go to Eyelet's Postbag number 121, and at 2 minutes 49 seconds he talks about them, and he gives the link to the eBay supplier. The name of them is crazy. It talks about a paper board and stuff that's just completely wrong. But as far as I can tell, they all look pretty good, and so I ended up transferring the remote door opener to now a soldered version, and it works.
Woohoo!
And it works pretty much every time. So, and so I'm going to donate the bad breadboard to the trash can, just
Donate to science.
so nobody else will make the mistake of using it.
Have you considered pulling the adhesive back off to see the inside?
I have not taken the back off, because I'm going to use
Start with the
these.
crap one.
And I'm going to use these, so I don't want to mess this one up.
Yeah, the crap one that you're going to donate to the trash.
Yeah, use the crap one.
Donate it to science and tear it apart.
Yeah.
Well, this one, in fact, I did start this one. So here's what they look like. And they're just... Anybody have a knife?
Always.
In fact, I may be able to get... No. Oh, this comes loose too, by the way, which may not be all that great a deal. Mess up your knife.
That's fine.
I think they end up making the power supply or the power rails come loose so that you can merge like 3 or 4 boards and only have one power rail in the middle.
So here's, you can see how narrow these are. These are what they call funnels. And if I took the other one apart, they would be much wider and, easier to stick stuff into. Mm-hmm. The other thing is that the good ones have nickel-plated phosphor bronze. And I suspect these are not nickel-plated phosphor bronze, and which is why they don't make good contacts. Actually, if I challenged you to stick 2 metal parts together and not have them make a good connection, you'd have trouble doing that. But these people found a way. You remember the volume setting of 1? the volume setting of 1 on our remote door opener on the walkie-talkie worked for a while because the part of the circuit that referenced that input to ground and that drew it down to ground a little bit wasn't connected. What it really needs is a volume setting of 4 when everything is connected, which is why when everything was connected, it didn't work. Never had a chance of working. So that's what gets you in trouble on. Oh, the other thing about these is if you put too big a thing in there, they don't come back.
Gotcha.
They're not springy at all.
But and it looks like the moving one of them may move more than one of them.
That could be.
It looks like they're a little too tied together.
But now even these have plastic in between, so I don't see how you could get one into the other row.
So some of them, and there may be several of these, but I've seen them where each individual one is separate.
Okay.
Let me see if I can. I don't think I have one. But yeah, I've definitely seen them where like each contact is separate, and they're like open in the back.
Yeah. You know, I never buy name brand batteries or much of anything like that. You know, I generally go for the cheap stuff. People say, well, you get what you pay for, and that's not true. You know, you can save a lot of money by buying cheap stuff. But sometimes you just have to make sure, you know, sometimes it really does make a difference. And I think this is one of those cases. Actually, $591 for a good one, I don't think that's too much at all. And I think I guess maybe the eBay people will eventually catch on, but they haven't yet. Actually, somebody needs to catch on about these. You would think that the people who make the power supply modules would convince these people to make them, you know, that would fit.
A few millimeters bigger.
Yeah. I mean, it's
the best part about it is the addition they need to add isn't even have copper on it.
Yeah.
No, that's right. Just more
So
board
it's even
space.
cheaper than if
Yeah.
you had to add copper.
Yeah. It's just more board space, you know. But this one turned out to be more trouble than it should have been to make it work. And but you know,
So did you say
gosh,
you cut off the outer pins?
I cut off the outer pins on both sides, and then fitted the inner pins into the outer pins of the board.
Right.
It's not a perfect match, but it's close enough where you can bend them.
Right.
So Adafruit does sell the Perma Proto boards that are the actual the width of the power.
Yes, I was going to say I found there and on Mauser there's one, but the problem is that if you find one the right size, like the one on Mauser is like $12. It's 20 times as much money as the ones that aren't quite right. You know, well, you know. If the breadboard only costs $6, why would you spend extra to move it over if the breadboard works? You know.
You get 3 of them.
Do you?
One pack.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
all.
Okay. Yeah. If somebody can find a source of cheap ones that are the right size, that would be a good deal.
Yeah.
All you need is a project box for your walkie-talkie.
You don't like my Walmart shower container?
I didn't see it. Oh, yeah. You're so catty.
That wasn't pretty enough for you?
I didn't see it.
So for those of you online who weren't around back when we tried to install this thing, you may be a little confused as to what exactly this walkie-talkie system is designed for. So yeah, we're gonna try and bring some of it on to show you. But basically, the front door here at the actual event space is locked after 5, right?
Locked after 5.
Locked after 5, so we have to go downstairs and open the door manually for anyone who wants to show up. So the idea is we take this pair of walkie-talkies here and plug it into the circuit.
And there's no Wi-Fi that gets you that far either.
Right.
No.
So pretty much all the networking it's too far for any of the networks to make it.
Well, and you've got brick walls and
Yeah.
all kinds of interference that just, doesn't work well.
But there's a motion detector.
Right, so there's a motion detector by the front door that lets people just open the door as they're walking out. And apparently this little pipe cleaner here is more than enough to trigger it. So we stick this in front of the motion sensor, and we can push the call button on the walkie-talkie and have it open and close for us. Is it functional? Can we demonstrate it?
Well, why don't we see?
Do you have a battery?
It's going to make me look very bad if it doesn't work.
Do we have a battery?
Yes.
It's Tosh. We don't necessarily expect everything to work the first time, or even the second or third time sometimes.
and I even found extension cords for the
Color code them right.
for the servo.
And where's the
The audio cable.
yeah?
So this is
Here's the audio cable.
So here you go, a live demonstration on stream of hopefully everything working. So we're going to power on both of the walkie-talkies. Is that one on? There we go.
Now.
And so we're on a secret channel.
So yes.
Channel, yeah.
do not disclose the channel.
We can
Now I
always
need to
change
check
it
the
later.
volume. Okay. So
So now you should
George's
be able to
gonna
hit
push the
call,
button, and the thing waves.
and you can see.
And so it's gonna wave, and wave in front of the motion detector.
And that's
And
enough to
open
get
the
the
door.
door unlocked. Yep.
Yep.
Okay, I may have leaned the thing too far forward. We may need to change the channel.
We're not in Tulsa. We're in Oklahoma City.
Yeah. That's why. Yes. Tosh in Oklahoma City
Yes.
when they have their meetings on a different day of the week.
We just all cruise down there.
Yeah. So it looks like it's incredibly stable now.
yes, indeed.
So we'll have to check it out when we get it all the way down there. The other thing is I need to find a better way to hold it up there because that
Well, here's what I was thinking.
suction thing only worked a couple times.
What I was thinking was you would use this only for the servo.
Mm-hmm.
And the receiver and this, which is all we have now, and the battery, could go up on the ledge above.
Yeah.
And if the wires are long enough, then you know.
But that brings to the next reason we need a project box, and that's so people don't think we've got a bomb install.
Make sure you don't put a blinking light on the front.
Actually, there is a blinking light.
Yeah, there
Oh
is a
no!
Don't put a countdown.
But
button.
it's a
Yeah.
green. It's a green light. which
It's
is
not a red
okay.
light.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Everyone knows
There's
the.
no blue wires to cut.
Yeah.
I thought it was the red one.
Did I say red? I meant blue.
Well, I'm very pleased it worked under pressure.
First try.
That's right.
You pray to the electronics gods.
I'll tell you what, walkie-talkies are amazing too. Nobody uses them anymore, but they'll just go forever, you know.
Tell the ham radio people. It's different than a walkie-talkie.
You know, I left one on at home all day, never heard anything, even keying the channel. So people don't use them anymore.
Well, also their range is like 3 feet, so you know if it's.
Yes and no.
I mean, they say 45 miles or whatever on the box.
Oh no, it's not that, but it's.
Yeah, which is. I have trouble believing they even get that open air.
Like
But you know,
Wi-Fi,
we
you know.
we did this did work before from up here down
yeah,
to there,
yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah,
plenty
I
far
mean,
to get that
for our
far.
building,
Are
but
we still streaming?
but if you're but I mean if you're just looking to pick up random chatter, you're not going to get any within 5 or 6 houses.
Have you considered? So walkie-talkies are fantastic. I don't know what frequency in which they're communicating in, but have you guys not just considered doing it with a 900 megahertz or 433 megahertz?
You know, I tried a one radio setup, a remote that I got on eBay. I'm trying to remember what it wasn't. 433. It was like 3 something. But and we tried it here, and it just didn't get through all the brick stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it just didn't get through.
Yeah.
And these, they actually broadcast under pretty good power. You know, they put out. Well, does anyone have any other comments or suggestions?
Any questions from the YouTubers?
No, just Patrick making a lot of comments. Thank you for attending, Patrick.
We see you there.
So we're done.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. I hope everybody learned a lot. I mean, I had no idea there was such variance between breadboards. So we're gonna wrap it up for tonight. We'll be here again next month, and you can check us out at YouTube or come live and hear us. And we'll you can check us out on Meetup.com, and we'll.
We've got plenty of space here.
Yeah, we've got plenty of space here. So the address is on Meetup.com, and you can come, and hopefully we'll have the doorbell installed, and you can see how it works in person. So we'll catch you all the next time.